Hey guys, welcome to a reading wrap up slash the shirts are finally on sale video. I had hoped to get all the shirts up by October 1st, but that didn't quite happen. But hopefully, as this video is being released, they should be available. So the first thing we've got is this Fox & Sons shirt that I have been wearing for like the last month and I'm totally obsessed with. It is the coziest sweater I have ever worn. I am wearing they come in a unisex, so I'm wearing a medium, and it's bigger than some unisex medium, and it feels like it's oversized in a good way. It's nice and long, and I feel like it does have like elastic here, but it's not as tight as some. Yeah, so I'll talk a little bit about all the shirts that are available and other things, I guess, and then we will get into my reading wrap up from the last few weeks, where I feel like my reading, the theme, the question is, do I even like reading anymore? And I'll answer that. So I've got this Fox & Sons books design. It's available in this comfy sweater. It's going to be available in two colors. This one I believe is called Sandstone or something like that. And then it's also going to be available in a chocolate color, which I think will go well with, you know, the design. There was some other color options, but it just didn't feel like it worked very well. And then there's also going to be some corresponding accessories, like a tote bag. All a nod to You've Got Mail. If you guys haven't never watched it, that is where this is from. Yeah, so there's this design in a few different things, and then I've got another design. It's The Books Are Calling and I Must Go, and that is going to be in the same sweater. The very cozy, like it's soft but not like overly bulky. It feels kind of like wearing a blanket in the best way. So that's going to be available in two different colors, and then it's going to be on a few different accessories as well. And at this point, I don't think there will be anything else available design-wise unless I can really get things going really fast today, but I don't think so. I'd hoped for more, but life has been a little crazy, so it is what it is. I will have the shop link below. It's on Etsy. My shop's name is Chantel Reads All Day. They're going to be available from now until the like 7th of January approximately. But if you want it before Christmas, if you want people to buy it for you before Christmas, buy it as soon as possible because things go out of stock and they do print them to order. So it takes a while to print and then ship. So just know that. For me, I think things take about a month from when I order it to when it comes to my door, but I'm up in Canada, so obviously that adds quite a bit of time to the shipping. What else do I want to say? I think that's all shirt-wise. Yes, order as soon as you can. I don't even know if orders by December 1st would get to you by Christmas. I feel like that would be cutting it close, especially because things are going to be, like, there's going to be more orders around Christmas time, so get the orders in. And then I decided to close it January 7th-ish, because I know sometimes people get money for Christmas, and then if they didn't get something that they want, like a shirt, then you can still have time to order it. But then I'm going to close the shop for a bit. There's also my book stack shirt. That one has been available for the last number of months. That's in the shop. I wear that book stack sweater all the time. It's blue, and I also have the green shirt, and it's on a tote bag that I use all the time. So that one's also available, and the mug. I should have brought mine down. It's a like enamel tin kind of mug with the book on it. I use that often as well. So there's a few different things available in the shop that will all be available till January 7th. And then my shop's going to go on a little bit of a hiatus, and hopefully I can do some more designing and do more of that in the future. But I'm kind of thinking about where I want to go for that. Okay, and then just a little update. In the last few weeks, all 3 of our foster kids have gone. I've talked about it, I think maybe a little bit in my last vlog. Jared and I have been doing a podcast actually for the last month or two, and we've been talking a little bit about that there. But that's definitely affected my reading life. I feel like now I'm ready to read again. So to answer the do I even like to read? Yes, I do. But I definitely went through a phase in the like week or two before they started going, knowing that they were going to go, and then like a week or two after, where I just was mentally so full that I was really struggling to read. So I feel like this is going to be a little bit of a negative. Overall, I didn't like more books than I did like in the last month or so, 3 weeks. And I don't like that. I don't want to put videos out where I don't enjoy the books, because I want to be reading books that I enjoy. But I do recognize that this is very much like a season, and that had a lot to do with it. So, should we start with the ones I did not finish? That makes the most sense. Let's get those over with. There was 3 books I did not finish. The first one is Calculating the Stars. So this is an alternate history, which sounded so interesting. And I have not officially DNF'd this one. I got to page 130. So the idea is that in 1952, a meteorite, I believe it was 1952, hit Washington, D.C. and wiped out, there was like a meeting of all the, the president and all the people. I don't know the terminology for the American government stuff, but pretty much all the high-ups died, and like a lot of people on the coast. And we are following a woman who is part of, well, she starts out, she was a pilot in World War II or something. Anyway, it's called the A Lady Astronaut novel, so I'm assuming she's going to be one of the first astronauts to go to space, because they are looking for, to start a colony, because pretty much the world is going to end because of things that happened with this meteorite. And it was interesting, but like I just was not enticed to pick it up. Now, was this a life stage thing? Definite possibility. But I've also heard people say that they just got really sick of the feminist vibes in this series or this book. And I can see that it's heading that way. I don't feel like it's quite there yet, but I feel like it could be heading that way, and I could get really annoyed with that too. So I haven't officially decided what I'm doing with this. If you loved it, let me know. And if you didn't, also let me know, and then maybe that will help me like sway me. I'm going to keep the book for now. I'm going to keep my bookmark in here, and then maybe I'll try it again at some point. And then my next DNF was The Ogress and the Orphans. Now, Anne from Elizabeth Ann Reads raved about this recently, and she compared it to Sweep, which is a middle grade fantasy book that I really enjoyed. But I was just really not getting into this one, and Kelly Barnhill is the person who wrote The Girl Who Drank the Moon, and I know lots of people love that book, and I couldn't get into that one. It was just too weird for me, and I feel like this was maybe heading in that same direction. Once again, could have been a life stage thing, but I don't think I'm interested. I'm curious to get my daughter to read it though, because she likes fantasy more than I do, and then hear her thoughts, and then maybe I can decide from there if I would like to try it again. And then the last one I'm actually decided last night to DNF is The Extraordinary Life of Sam Hell. So this one was a Patreon pick for me. I pulled out of my jar for my September TBR, and it sounded really interesting. I like a lot about it. It's about a boy who was born with red eyes, and we flip back and forth between his present life and him as a child and going to school for the first time. And it's interesting. His mother is a very devout Catholic, but it came to the point, and I don't even know how far I got, like less than 100 pages in, I think, and it got to the point where I just felt like there was too many sexual talk instances where I was just ready to be done. So I decided to DNF this one. It's also one I started a while ago and then put down and then just wasn't gravitating towards, so I decided to quit it. Then for the rest of the books, I finished all of these. We're gonna go in order from the ones I liked the least to the one I liked the most. So the one that I liked the least is one, so this is The 100-Year-Old Man Who Climbed Out the Window and Disappeared. I talked about this in my last reading vlog. I had to read this for a library book club, and I don't always complete books from the library book club. I'm okay with DNFing it. This one had me intrigued. This is also the first time we were meeting since COVID, so I wanted to go into the first book club like having read the book. And so I talked a little bit about this in my reading vlog, and it is a funny story, but there's so much other stuff going on that isn't funny. I think I ended up giving this one 2.5 stars. I've been failing on Goodreads lately, actually. I need to go and update a bunch of Goodreads stuff, but I gave this 2.5 stars in my reading journal. Yeah, I explained the premise in my reading vlog, so I don't think I'll get into it. Overall, it was funny. I didn't hate the reading experience, but I wouldn't really recommend it. I think these next few are like 3.5 stars for me. The next two are pretty much tied, so order doesn't matter so much here. But this one is The Lottery and Other Stories by Shirley Jackson. Now, if you've heard me talk about Shirley Jackson at all, generally I'm raving about her, and I'm so sad that I really enjoyed the first half of this book, and then the short stories at the end were just disappointing. Except The Lottery is at the end, and I didn't actually read that one again because I've read that one quite a few times, and I had just read it this year as well. So she writes generally like gothic horror short stories. She can pack a punch in 10 pages or less, and I appreciate that. But the last half of the book or so, I felt like I kept waiting for her punch, and it never came. And I was like, oh, we just read that story for like nothing. They just left me feeling like I was missing something, and they didn't feel like her other short stories. So that was unfortunate. But I do like a number of the short stories in here. Then we've got, this was my Patreon spoilery vlog for September. I read Dark Matter by Blake Crouch, and this one was interesting. So this is a science fiction story. Oh, okay. My general thought is I don't like to say things that take place after page 50 in books, because I feel like kind of beyond page 50 it's a spoiler. So our main character, his name is Jason. He is walking home one night. He has a wife and a son, and he gets kidnapped and taken somewhere. He wakes up in this different place where he's being restrained, and something suspicious is going on. So this is science fiction. I don't really want to say what's all going on. But then he manages to escape from this place, goes to his house, and like everything is different. He goes to his home, and it's like the door isn't quite the same as it was. The stuff inside his house is like it's his house, but things are different. Where there was a picture of his wife and his son in some place, now it's just that place with no people in it. And it's higher end, it's more expensive, and he's very confused. And I enjoyed a lot of this story, but I really didn't like where Blake Crouch took the ending, and I gave an alternate ending in my Patreon vlog, and most people disagreed with me. They like where he took the ending instead, which is fine. You're wrong, but like, I guess I just wanted a bit of a happier ending, and I feel like the way he went, it ruined life for a lot of people. Whereas I think it could have been done in a better way. I'll say that. Yeah, so I enjoyed it. There was a decent amount of swearing as well, so you know, just for people that want to know that kind of thing. I think I gave this about like 3 stars, maybe 3.5. It was higher at the beginning, and then the ending definitely brought it down, but it was a fun ride for sure. I had fun guessing where things were going or why things were happening, so this was a really good one to do a vlog on. Okay, then sitting at around 4 stars is Skating Shoes by Noel Streatfeild. So I was reading this one on my live reading sprints, so I'm hoping to do those like monthly. Yeah, should be monthly, but I'm not sure I'm going to really plan it much ahead of time, just whenever works for me. So this was one that I read for the You've Got Mail readathon, and it was just a charming, wholesome, middle grade story. Our main character is a girl named Harriet who has been sick for a while, and she needs to build up her strength, so the doctor recommends skating to build up her leg muscles. And she goes skating, she meets a friend, things happen. It was written in the 1950s or published in the 1950s, and it just has that feel of like just a nice, wholesome middle grade story. which is apparently what I was just really craving at the time. And then the last one, which technically I read, finished on October 1st, so maybe this should be my October wrap-up, but I want to talk about it now because I want people to read it in October, and that is Illusion by Frank Peretti. So this is his last published book. As far as I know, he's still alive, but not publishing books anymore, which is too bad, because this might make it as my favorite Peretti book yet. I mean, The Oath and Piercing this Darkness and This Present Darkness, they're amazing, but they're very different. So he often deals with spiritual warfare and like the supernatural realm. This one doesn't do that at all. We follow a couple who's been married for 40 years. They performed a magic show together, and right at the start of the book, or just prior to the book, they're in a car accident and she dies. Meanwhile, he's grieving. So they were married for 40 years, and this is set, I think, in, yeah, so the car accident happens in 2010, which is present day, I guess, because he wrote this, it was published in like 2011. So he's in 2010 grieving the loss of his wife. Meanwhile, she is waking up in 2010 as a 19-year-old, but she was 19 in 1970, so she feels like she just went from, I don't know how to say it. She was doing life in 1970, and then all of a sudden she was in 2010. And yeah, I feel like some people are not gonna like this book, and I'm okay with that. I know some of the reasons why I like this book, but I don't feel like I can say them without being spoilery. I don't think everyone will like it. I'm okay with that, but I do think that this is very unique. It's very science fiction, whereas I feel like his other ones I would classify as more like, not that this one wasn't Christian fiction. They the couple were Christians, and there's lots of references to trusting God, and it was really good for like my life season right now in a transition phase, but it felt like a Christian science fiction. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I meant to read it slow. Like I mentioned, I think in my October TBR, I was so excited just to have a nice big book in my hands and be reading it for a long time. But then I started and I just couldn't stop. So yeah, finished that one real fast. So there's a wrap up from my last few weeks. I feel like it's been a few weeks since I did a wrap up, but nothing was gripping me. So hopefully we can get into a better groove. And I definitely have a book haul coming soon. And I think there was another video I was going to do before that though. Maybe it will be a book haul next, I can't remember. Let me know some of your favorite books from September and kind of what you're reading in October. I'm so excited for this month, especially kicking it off with a book like this just makes me want to read all the things now. So hopefully we can just kind of continue a really good streak. Thanks for being here, guys.